Black Oni.
You're now listening to the Black Oni podcast.
We often just skip it. Like
yeah. So like because since we
got one, I got one. If it's not on there.
Yeah. Well, it probably isn't on there, but we'll discover that very shortly. So we will. First of all, I want to take a second. We're recording now. I want to take a second to introduce the guests that are on here. So obviously, I'm JBlaze06, Black Oni. I have with me the 1KK Kevin over there.
How's it going?
I have Soil, aka Soet. That's Dave.
What's up?
And what should we address you as, Jess?
I respond to Jess and hey you.
Okay.
Wait, is that literally like your gamer tag / PSN? Like, hey you?
No. I'm Jess. I'm also known as Damn Jess on Twitter and the Turtle Rock forums. And then in the gaming world, I'm known as Bubblegum Anarchy.
Bubblegum Anarchy.
I like the name.
Yeah.
I saw it when
that's cool.
I saw it when Will called you. I approve. Nice.
I don't know where I came up with. I was like in 10th grade, and I thought I was super clever.
Gosh, yours was more clever than mine. I came up with mine in my teenage years, and nobody understands it.
That's good though. It's a starting point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so Soil, yours is from. Go ahead. You tell the quick backstory.
Oh gosh, my little backstory on that is I was a huge fan of a certain heavy metal band called System of a Down, and I still kind of am. But back before they first formulated, it was I believe a poem written by their lead singer, and it was also one of their songs on their debut album called Soil. So it's Soil, aka SOAD, System of a Down.
Yeah. So like everyone else
gotcha.
online when we played, it's like Soil, Soil, Soil. He's just like,
Gosh, I don't know how old I was when I made that. Too long ago.
Yeah.
Mine was AOL cannot give you this screen name. Here are some suggestions. I was like 12, so.
I wanted something that sounded cute and also like badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good compromise. Yeah.
Everyone was like, "Are you an anarchist?" And I was like, "What? I don't know what that word is, but okay."
I didn't figure that out until like high school. Like, oh, okay, maybe I should do that.
It had repercussions that I had no idea about.
Right. And similarly with JBlaze06, like it's based off a character I created when I was like growing up. And so like anyone in my later life, adult years, was like, "Oh, JBlaze, you must smoke a lot of weed." And I'm just like, no, that's not what it was for. But everyone has their own way of interpreting things, so
Yeah.
it's always a fun thing. And I guess that was part of my icebreaker. I want to also kind of introduce the fact that you're the community manager for Evolve.
Yeah.
We have some questions that are going to tie into that as well, but since Evolve is about one party against a big boss monster, my question is, or actually Kevin's question is, since he's the one who put this agenda together, so shout out to you, Kevin, for doing that. I was on my way home.
No problem.
Very awesome. What boss sticks out in your mind as the ultimate big bad?
Is this limited to Evolve?
No, like any. I meant sort of like classic video games or whatever you played. Like, what to you is always like the boss?
Oh, my answer's gonna be so embarrassing.
If you say a clown.
Okay, I think that the big man. So I was a big fan of Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was a kid. I used to love Disney movies and whatever. And I always thought that Ursula was like the meanest Disney villain. She was, and then it turns out in Final Fantasy or in Kingdom Hearts, she was the hardest.
And the swimming mechanic was so difficult that did not help.
And I just swam around and around and around, and like it took forever, and I would die. Although I will say that Dark Riku was pretty bad. But when I think of like a big bad boss, she's got the attitude. It was hard to beat her, and she's always Can I use poor words?
Oh, yeah,
You
go
can
ahead.
use any
You can
word
She
you
was
want.
just a bitch.
She was a total bitch.
She was just a bitch, and I just hated her.
She was a bitch since we first saw her in Little Mermaid. I was like, oh my, what kind of person does this?
Exactly. She's like, I'm gonna take your voice, and if you don't get this guy to fall in love with you, and you can't speak, then I'm gonna kill you, or turn you into a weird little floor bug thing. What were they?
I don't even.
They were poor, unfortunate souls, right?
Yeah, it was just bad news. Overall bad news.
She was mean.
Yeah, I was.
I know.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I know she's not like, people think of, bad bosses. They think of mean people who are big and scary, and Ursula was just a bitch.
She totally was.
She was.
Now yeah. All right, that's a good answer. I'll take that because I agree that in the context of Kingdom Hearts and like outside of Kingdom Hearts, like she was
Vicious.
Yeah.
very vicious.
Yeah.
Stupid octopus.
It's always the tentacles. Always. That's how they get you.
Different conversation.
Different conversation. We'll say that for later. You guys won't be able to hear that at home.
I disappeared for like 2 seconds. What the hell were you talking about?
Tentacles.
Don't even worry about it.
All right. Say no more.
Tentacles, bro. Tentacles. So, Dave, what is your ultimate boss? What boss in any media sticks out in your mind as the ultimate big bad?
Like the ultimate?
Yeah, man. Like, doesn't get any worse than that.
Like when you
Shit,
hear
dude.
like final boss, like who pops into your head?
I mean, it's going to be kind of mediocre, and it's going to not stand up to anything you guys say. I kind of think of that big hand from Super Smash Brothers.
Okay.
I don't
That's
know why.
adorable.
It just kind of sticks out. It was always like that guy, and
Literally.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I hated him. But I mean, I got over it. But I guess I'll go with that. Screw it.
All right. That's a solid choice. I'm still struggling to figure out what mine is, so I'm going to let
me to go?
Karen go before me.
I had the most time to think about it.
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna go with Sephiroth. It's like an easy answer,
Yeah.
but like in his final stage, he has like 3 forms, and one of his moves that isn't even his like big move is to like destroy the entire solar system.
Wow. Yeah.
And, like bring it all down on you. So
Was that an instant kill? Was that like a thing?
no, that was just deals you damage. He does it several times.
Oh, okay. So no big deal. I just had a universe thrown at me.
Yeah,
Whatever.
just like Final Fantasy VII ridiculous like cutscenes for moves. It took like 5 minutes every time he did it.
It's like, powering up in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Could you interrupt him?
Right?
Knights of the Round was like a 7-minute animation, so
So you couldn't interrupt him. That's what you're saying.
yeah, no, you just watched it, and it was cool every time.
Actually, for shame for me, I know I never got a chance to play Final Fantasy VII, and
What?
I have it on my Vita. I have the fucking game, but see, here's my thing, right? I was convinced for the longest time that this game was going to be released as a re-release, so I never bothered to play the original.
Yeah.
Didn't even worry about it.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. What the hell, Square?
Yeah, you could say that about a lot of there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Where's Kingdom Hearts 3?
Where's Kingdom Hearts 3? Where's Final Fantasy 15?
It's coming. It's coming.
Oh, it's coming at some point in our lifetime.
Someday. Just give us your money.
Just give us your money and we'll figure out the rest later.
I just want to like live to see the end of the Kingdom Hearts story, and 3 is the end of Sora, but not the end of the story. And if it's like 10 years between games, I'm never gonna make it to like
Nope.
10.
Nope. You're gonna drop dead before they even utter the thought of it.
I mean, the whole creative team will be dead by that point. So
also true.
Yeah.
All right, so I want my answer to be Metal Gear because I'm always gonna say Metal Gear. And to be fair, Metal Gear
Oh,
Metal Gear
damn it.
Solid 1 was fucking terrifying.
I should have thought of that. That's a good answer.
I think it's a great answer. That thing scared the crap out of me. I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone who didn't play Metal Gear Solid 1. But what happens to the cyborg ninja in that whole scenario was just like, oh! Like that was my
I don't know.
reaction.
Sniper Wolf also sticks out to me too. Is like massive pain.
Oh,
like
she was. Yeah,
She was
you could
pain
literally
to
shoot
beat.
her in the head
I remember her.
15 times. She was just like, oh, whatever, no big deal.
Or when you had to take the meds to slow down your sight just to
Yeah.
try and line up the shot, and she kept moving all over the place.
Got a laser in your eye.
Ugh.
I think the only thing I took away from Metal Gear was that you could hide in a box
I mean,
at any given time.
that's the most important factor of the game. So maybe the box is the most badass boss in the game.
maybe.
OP, box OP.
Box so OP. All right, my actual answer has to be, I don't know if you guys played Sonic Adventure 1,
Yep.
but Chaos was the name of it, I think.
Yes.
I think so. Like its biggest form, and you transform into Super Sonic. That thing was kind of freaky looking, man.
Yep.
So I think I'm gonna go with that option or that answer.
Good choice.
Nice.
Yeah, Sonic Adventure has a very special place in my heart. Not like Metal Gear, but
Different place in your heart.
different place, the lower side. And so that was a pretty good icebreaker.
That's a good question.
It's a great question. Again, big props to Kevin for putting this agenda together. It's very, very well done.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. So the next part is the interview section. And this is, again, another point of contention excitement for us because we kind of get the lowdown on some of these other details. How did you come to work for Turtle Rock?
So, I like this question because Turtle Rock was the company that I wanted to work for. As soon as they announced Evolve, I Googled, Turtle Rock community manager openings, or I went straight to their website and I was like, are they hiring for a community manager? And they weren't, of course. Figures.
Yeah, right.
And so I was just, I just liked their Facebook page for Evolve, and I was like one of the first. I was in the triple digits to like them, so that's pretty early on in the process.
Yeah.
And so I was like a big fan from day one, really ready to try out the game. And I was also one of the people at PAX East who was like staring with their mouth open at the big screen that they had showing the games.
Uh-huh.
And then, yeah, it was really cool. I mean, they had Goliath on the show floor, and whew,
Yeah.
I wasn't with Turtle Rock at the time. And then about halfway through last year, I got an email from the president being like, "Hey, are you interested in working potentially for Turtle Rock as a community manager?" And I was like, I didn't respond, but I wanted to respond with, "Oh my God, yes, please." And I met up with them, talked to the guys. They were super chill and laid back, and I was like, "Whoa, these guys are awesome!" And before I knew it, I was sitting down at my brand new portable desk, because all the desks are portable or movable at Turtle Rock, and I was part of the team. I couldn't believe it. I was working on a project that I really cared about.
That's really
So cool.
So I assume you put an application out before you got, approached about.
He poached me.
Wow. Very
So I
cool.
was like, I felt super special.
Right? Yeah, you got to be like on like a super level of badass to just be like, "Hey, I'm the president. What's up? Come work for us."
Well, Turtle Rock's cool, right? Because everyone here is very down to earth, and everybody gets a chance to work on all kinds of things. If you want to work on a part of the game, you want to champion it, and you can do it, then they'll let you do it. It doesn't matter. I've in the past said, "Hey, I would really like to be part of this process," and they said, "Okay, just here's the document on how we do it."
Do you mind if I
Very
ask
cool.
what that part of the process was?
I wanted to be involved in badges. So I haven't done any yet, but that's the cool thing about Turtle Rock, right? Is I can go to them and I can say, "I really want to help out with badges. How can I do that?" And they go, "Oh yeah, here, you can help. Here's how you do it." So.
Nice.
And so, being contacted by the president seemed like a really big deal, and it still is a big deal. But at the same time, now that I've been here long enough, I know the culture, and I know that, you can go on the Turtle Rock forums and talk to the co-founders of the studio, no problem.
I might do that.
Yeah,
You should. They're on there.
No
That's
way.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Kev, would you like to ask some of these questions as well? Since you
I don't have it pulled up, so why don't you go ahead?
Good job. So, how did your team come up with the idea for Evolve?
That
So-
would have been my question.
You
Thank you.
Team come up with the idea before you started, I guess.
Well, yeah, no, I know the story. So the team that made Left 4 Dead was really small, right? And a lot of people don't know this, but Turtle Rock didn't do Left 4 Dead 2. They just did Left 4 Dead 1. And yeah, and soon after that, they got to work on a new idea, because at Turtle Rock, really, at the end of the day, we want games to be fun. And these guys really wanted to make a game that they thought was a new experience, that they thought was really fun to play. That's it. It just needed to be innovative and fun. Seems easy enough, right? Well, what they decided on was asymmetrical gameplay, because they talked it out and they said, you know what, I wish there was a game that was 4 versus 1. Okay, from the team that brought you 4 players versus zombies comes the team that brings you 4 players versus 1 player. And that was the struggle for 4 years of development, was to put 4 players against 1 player, balancing it, designing it, all of it. It needed to, nobody had ever really done this before on such a large scale. And every day they came back and they said, all right, is it fun to play?
Right.
And that's why we play test every day at lunch. That's part of the reason. Everybody can play test and try out the game and submit suggestions, is because we really want to try the game and ask ourselves every day, is it still fun to play? Do we still like playing it?
So yeah, that's awesome. I think that's one of the big things to take away from that is, you want to develop a game that you yourself want to play. And I feel like that can go one of 2 ways. Some people can get really super opinionated on things and like only go towards one direction without really like thinking about the other alternatives to that. Was there any bit of that going on? Was there kind of like a narrow-mindedness in terms of that, or was it fairly...
Well, considering that the team that really worked on the core of the game for quite a while was really small, I think that everybody's desires made Evolve what it is today. So, I'm sure there was conflicts in game designs, and Evolve had to go back to the drawing board. There was one massive rehaul of design, and they kept having to tweak. They changed the main character from, I don't know if you've seen any of the making of videos that Adam Sessler did, but they changed. They changed. Goliath wasn't Goliath originally. His name was Scorpid, and he was just like, he had these like lobster claw for arms, and that's a good example of what we thought was going to work, and then we put it into play, and we said, this isn't fun. It was just kind of awkward to have these big lobster claws. It's just not working for the monster player. They're not invested.
I'm doing little lobster movements.
So there were always obstacles, and of course there were always team members that wanted other things. But luckily the team was so small for so long that it really became what they wanted it to be. There wasn't a lot standing in their way.
I'm curious. You keep saying like small. Like how small are we talking?
I don't know the exact number. The original team was about, I think it was 10 or 11 people. And then when they started to work on Evolve, they went, artist heavy, and I think it was about 30 people for quite some time.
Yeah, you're right. That is relatively small compared to
very small.
50, 100, a couple hundred people. That's wow.
Yep.
Really? That's it?
Yeah. So, and we're still just under 100 here at Turtle Rock.
Nice.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah. It's really cool because, it's very intimate and a lot of people, and it gives you the chance to be heard.
Yeah, it's really important.
Yeah.
And so Evolve was delayed for quite a while. What tweaks were you making during that time?
Well, again, to make Evolve was such a challenge. Balancing a game like Evolve is so difficult. I mean, it's so challenging to want to create characters that are unique and they do really unique things. And in order to create the balance that we needed, we had to scrap a lot of stuff over and over again. And it finally just resulted in, we realized at one point that there would be no way that we could get it out in a good enough condition that we thought was acceptable by that October date. And 2K was gracious and let us push it back. And we think that the game really, really shined from it. It gave us the extra time to really put that extra layer of polish on that we needed. And because of it, I think that it had a really strong launch and functioned really well because of that extra time. And we took it to heart. We really needed that time.
Yeah, Absolutely. And I imagine it must be kind of nerve-wracking at first to sit there and say, you know, we're at this point in development and, you know, our deadline is fast approaching. We're not exactly where we want to be. You know, how do we present this in a way that's compelling to our publisher? Because I know for some development studios, you know, publisher developer relationship isn't really that good. So it's really refreshing to hear you say that, you know, 2K was pretty gracious in that process. Was there any real pushback on that at first, or?
I think that 2K really just is in the same boat as we are, which is they just really want to make a good product, you know, and they really want something that feels good to the players. It feels like the players getting what they paid for. And when we came to them and said, we need more time, and at the end of the day, it was all about, is this really going to improve the product? Yes, it will. So no question. I mean, awesome. It's always hard to push a release date. It's always hard for both parties, developers or publishers. But and I think that it's becoming a trend in the industry that players are beginning to accept that this is a good thing. Yeah. That when we recognize that we need more time to develop this, and that it will only result in better things. And another thing was, we wanted to do all these beta tests, you know, the alpha tests and the beta tests, but we weren't going to get real data that we could put into the game before launch if we didn't move it back. Right. So moving it back meant that our alphas and betas were meaningful, and we made real changes. And it was up to the wire on some of those changes. So it worked out, I think. We still have, you know, ways to go, right? We want to continue to support the game. We know people say that Wraith is OP and all that, and we're listening to all that, and we're actively looking at data, and, you know, and we get to patch things and update the balance, and that's what we're going to do. So,
well, I want to say personal thank you, and we appreciate that. Not just the push of the release day, which is okay. Like, if it takes time to polish the product and get it right and to make it fun, like, thank you. We really do appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're all players, right? Yeah. That's one of our other mottos, is that we are players and we view everything as a player. What would I think of this decision? Right. And, you know, the only good could come of it. So I'm with you guys. I was to the co-founders. I was like, oh my gosh, thanks, guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because I think after a certain point, you know, players started getting really burnt by, you know, certain releases coming out. And
Battlefield.
Oh my God. All right. We have choice words for Battlefield, man. I spent way more time trying to get into games in that game than I should ever spend. Like, time is valuable, you know. You don't want to spend most of your time in a lobby or trying to figure out how to get into a lobby. It's just so we could
have a long conversation about what they did wrong.
Well, but it's so hard to. I mean, developing games is what a lot of people struggle to understand. If you haven't ever developed games before, is that you can beta test and you can alpha test all you want, but nothing's going to compare to what you'll find once it's live to the world. And, I mean, obviously there's always things that we can do to improve, to make the launch more stable, but it's so hard to predict what's going to happen when that many people are playing it.
And all things considered, I mean, this was a new studio. This is a new development. This is a totally new idea and a new game. This was something... You know, it didn't really have... It had Left 4 Dead, yeah, but it didn't really have as long of a, I guess, steady tradition of games coming out that you could base some of that stuff off of, you know? So, like, I think even if Evolve came out with issues out the gate on launch, which it did, which I'm very, happy about. There were a few kind of connectivity things, but that's just to be expected with online interactivity. I think with all things considered, the launch went extremely well.
Yeah, we do feel like it went well. Of course, there are things that really need fixing and things that we could have only discovered once it went live. And we're doing the best we can to address them.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
No problem.
And what would you like to see from the Evolve community in the coming months? You know, what to you is a successful fan response?
To me, a successful fan response is, I mean, people being excited and saying that they're enjoying the game is really, it warms the cockles of my heart. But what a successful fan response are people who are emotionally invested and involved in the game and its development. So not just the guys that say, oh, I love Evolve, it's amazing. Thank you. I really appreciate that, because it's better than I hate Evolve and it's the worst game ever. But what I appreciate is the really detailed feedback when community members come to me and they say, Jess, I really love Evolve, but I feel like X, Y, and Z could be addressed. And I feel like a community that is still engaging on issues and still playing and still giving feedback on things they think could be improved, I think that's a really successful community response. And I hope in the coming months we continue to get that from the community. We get the feedback, we hear what the players really want, and we can hopefully address them and make changes or add things.
Yeah, that's a good response. I like it.
I'm
again,
a little floored. Wow, thank you.
No problem. I mean, we are a studio built from guys who play games. I mean, it's simple. We're all gamers, and we all really want Evolve to be the game that we would play. So, and we want to hear from those guys that are really invested in it.
Absolutely. I myself just picked it up not too long ago, and funny story how that happened. I initially told myself I would wait a little while to pick it up because I had a backlog of games that were just staring me down like, Will, play the stuff that you have from like 3 months ago. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll do it. And being an adult, you don't have as much time to play everything. And I remember when Evolve first went on pre-sale, last year I went to PAX and got a chance to talk to the previous community manager from there. And I was very excited about the game. I wanted to get my hands on it. As soon as the pre-order opened up on Amazon, I clicked it right away and got it. And I totally forgot that I did. So fast forward to last week, and I get an email. First of all, we have a shit ton of snow here.
So much snow. Oh my god! It
feels like we're in a different country right now.
Yeah.
And I got the email saying, my shipment was shipping for Evolve, and I was like, wait, what? When did I even do that? So I know I have been anticipating this for a long time, and I try to curb my excitement a little bit because I was trying to be realistic about what I had time for, and so far, aside from just the usual kind of hiccups and stumbles on first playing the game really while it's out in the wild, I've been having a good time playing with friends mostly. And so I do have another question for you before I get to the very last thing. What would be your best advice to people who are just playing the game for the first time or first experimenting with certain things? What would be, kind of your words of encouragement to those who are either kind of scared or, just getting into it for the first time?
Yeah. Does it have to be 140 characters or less?
It can be 2 characters.
No,
to be that good.
Give us a good one. I'm brand new at this game. I love any tips or hints or any advice you could give.
No pressure.
Well, first of all, Turtle Rock Studios, i.e. yours truly and a couple others here, made a series of videos that help you with a bunch of different bullet points on how to get started. But that aside,
was that your voice?
In the Turtle Rock tips?
Yeah, I remember.
That was Chloe. She's my partner in crime.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Tell Chloe I said thank you.
I will let her know. Those are a good start. But really, I would say if you're on the hunter side, play your role. If you're the medic, your first objective is to heal. Now, the medic is cool because the medic has snipers or sniper rifles or, napalm grenades or whatever is going to be in the future. But play to your role first and foremost. Whatever your role is strongest at, do it. And then communicate. You really need to communicate. Without communication, hunter teams just sort of fall apart. Not always, but a lot.
Yes, they do.
And then as the monster, I always say engage early and engage often. So a lot of monsters tend to run and hide and eat, and that's fine. I realize that it's pretty nerve-wracking as a monster, especially your first time, because these guys are hunting you down.
Yeah.
But at stage 2, get to stage 2 as quick as you can. The data that we have shows that stage 2 is the most evenly matched between hunters and monster. Go for a fight at stage 2, get some strikes on the hunters, which is permanent health damage, and then come back for a big old fight at stage 3 because you have the advantage at stage 3. And then on the reverse side for the hunters, don't let the monster just run away and you chase his footsteps directly. You have to outsmart the monster, just like actual hunting. You can't you can't follow the creature because usually you're a couple steps behind.
Mm-hmm.
You have to cut it off, put out traps, so on.
Gosh, you're making me recall the rounds that I've played so far, and I've only played it like an hour or maybe 2 max. Like I'm like a level 2, but I noticed early on that there wasn't communication. Like people are just running off doing their own thing, and you get slaughtered every single time. But then when you're on the right team and people are talking, and it can be non-verbally too, like using markers or people playing their role too. Like a match I was playing this morning before work, I was support, I think it was, with the laser gun. And I got a huge barrage on him from up above, and he was on the run. But instead of just cracking off shot after shot, I cloaked the team, and we just kind of ran up on him. And he didn't even see us coming, and the medic was healing me at the same time, and we just worked together, and we brought him down like it was nothing.
Nice.
So it's nice to see that already, but certain people don't know how to play this game.
When I started, granted I've only played for, like a handful of hours. I played with AI for a while just so that I could actually play all the hunter roles, so that when I went on with other people, I'd actually know what the hell I was doing. So that I wouldn't be one of those team members that just kind of runs away and then dies.
Yeah, I sucked as a medic my first time playing. Oh my god, so bad. I got so much, I had squirrel syndrome. I was just looking back and forth between healing and shooting the monster with my sniper rifle. I was like, oh, we reveal his weak points, and he's hammering on someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you're starting off and Evolve, the hunter side is easier to pick up because obviously they're very relatable, and these are weapons that you may or may not have seen before in other games. Playing as the monster is a totally different story. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard. Learning curve is much steeper.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. I have. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say another cool strategy might be to watch some of the good streamers like Sacriel. Those guys know how to play, and you can watch them, and they'll give you tips as they play, and that's another good way.
Yeah, absolutely. I watch a lot of streams as well, and I just started streaming myself not too long ago, so that's been an interesting experience. People coming in and either providing tips or saying, "Oh, move this way." And, I mean, by then it's already too late. The stream is delayed, but if you could bring a monster from any movie into your game, what monster would you choose?
And I'll add a clarification. That means making it, the size of the monster in your game. You don't have to pick a big monster. You could pick a smaller creature and make it appropriate sized. Because otherwise your choices are super limited.
Oh yeah. I was thinking about it, and I was like, geez, what big monsters do I have? So I wish I had a funny response. I'm just not that funny. I thought about this, and this is going to sound kind of weird and unconventional, but bear with me, okay? The Terminator. We can. It doesn't have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? I'm just thinking get into the chopper, but superhuman, Or we could even go with Terminator 3 sort of Terminators, where they have multiple body parts that are made of that weird silver stuff.
That would be terrifying.
Wouldn't that be
are we
cool?
going T2 Terminator or T3 Terminator, or are we talking metal skeleton Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator?
I think
I'm open to suggestions.
I think you just brought up the 3 phases right there.
There you go. Those are the evolved. Different
oh gosh.
Oh my god.
Where would it start though? Oh no, it'd have to end.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. We just gave you. All right, you guys got to make this happen.
Doesn't have to, but I want to see this in my head now.
Starts out as a metal frame robot, ends up as just this mass of liquid,
human, but can mold your body parts into different. Yeah, disclosure, we are not allowed to use the Terminator trademarks because they are copyrighted, so the odds of a Terminator being in the game are pretty slim.
Just rename it Decimator or something, it's fine.
Change it by 30%, you can do it.
You can do it.
Kills one of your party members and copies them.
That would be freaky. And so,
that would be freaky.
I have actually thought about what it would be like to go against an enemy that was not bigger than you, but relatively the same size as you, so that obviously it would be a lot harder to spot this enemy, but imagine kind of the tension that would build off of something like that. Maybe the monster would have less armor or less overall health than the other ones, but
Gosh, you're describing Predator, man.
Or
interesting ideas. Right. Yes,
like I can, like it just sounds like him, this cloaked out there in the wilderness, making those noises and just taking people off one by one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But that's been done already.
That's Predator. You gotta make you can make something that's humanoid, or you can make something that looks like a different creature, just that size. Like if you keep it something intimately sized, it's almost equally as terrifying because it's like, wow, where this thing could literally be anywhere.
I just want to see Nibbler from Futurama. Cute, adorable, terrifying. And just eating everything.
Gosh, it would be scary if he just ate one of your people, like one of your hunters out there.
Yeah.
So I have one more question. I guess one more suggestion for the game. One question would be like if you toyed around with the idea of like giving the creatures different abilities as they evolve, as opposed to upgrading their abilities as they evolve.
I don't have the answer to this. Yeah. I want to say it was tried.
Okay.
I do want to say that they tried it.
Mm-hmm. Because that would.
I know that hunters, you used to be able to pick your weapon, and that didn't work. Because we would get things like there would be 4 hunters with a med gun.
Yeah.
Pretty impossible.
Yeah, you can't do much of that.
Yeah. So they may have tried that with the monster. I don't know super well.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I like the current format for the hunters, though. I will say that as a side note. I like being forced to use something specific to help out my squad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
And it's not like they're just reskinned. Each character has completely different weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm also really interested, sort of, as you prepare to drop, you get little like snippets of conversation and backstory.
Mm-hmm.
And like one minor complaint is that in the beginning everybody uses the first party member, so you hear the same thing over and over. But as you switch them out, like you start hearing more personality, and they have a lot more personality than I expected them to.
Yeah, I mean, we spent a lot of time developing these characters. A lot of time, Matt Colville, who is the writer, made all kinds of dialogue, and Evolve is emergent gameplay, so you have to discover the story. We won't lay it out in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And the dropship banter is one of those ways. They talk about things in the dropship banters that allude to all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So listen closely.
Very cool. And the one thing I wanted to mention before I let you go, I know you have other things you have to do today, is one of the things about the progression. I really think it's a cool idea to have a progression system in this game. It's one of those things that I really like about playing many games, is that RPG kind of element to it, where you constantly getting new things and learning new techniques as you keep playing on. I guess one of the gripes I had about it was that sometimes you didn't really get to see many of those layers play out because you had to wait for the next thing to unlock, so you can really see how you can finally have a faster or more effective way to track the opponent, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think other than that, there's what was I going to say? The Trapper. The Trapper is one of my favorite classes to play. Very cool. And I know you get points for following Daisy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I was hearing from some of the people who've been playing the game longer that sometimes it's not your best interest to follow Daisy.
You only get points for following Daisy on the first level. At least the second level is for Daisy reviving team members.
Well, I didn't know you could do that, but I would say that sometimes during the heat of battle, or when you're following the monster, that she's still going to go where it is, but you don't always want to go where it is, but where it's going to be.
Yeah.
And you'll be tracking it different ways with your team members. So there are times where I will deviate from her, but I don't try and stay too far from her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you definitely, when it comes to Daisy, she's got little icons over her head that mean all kinds of things. Yellow means that she's got a good idea. She's on the trail.
Mm-hmm.
Red means she's seen him. Mm-hmm. She has line of sight on him. And Daisy is tethered to Maggie. So once Maggie, goes to cut off the monster, Daisy will follow. But then when you're in an area where you think, okay, I think that we're on the track to cutting off the monster, he should be in this area somewhere, then you look to Daisy and you see what Daisy's doing.
Mm-hmm.
She's supposed to go for him at that point.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I also like the tip that was that was on the tutorial video, the second one that says if she's sniffing the ground, then the monster's in stealth mode. So if you're fighting a monster that likes to try and sneak up on your party members and one-shot them, that is how you can tell.
No way.
Yep.
Very cool.
Daisy's cool, and we made a lot of improvements to her since the closed alpha last summer.
Yeah, I've played some of that. Yeah.
Yeah, like the general feedback in the big alpha was like, "Oh my god, I hate Daisy. She's awful." and then one of the biggest pieces of feedback in the beta was, "Oh my god, Daisy's so much better. She's useful now."
Yeah, totally.
She survived my party and given us the win, so I can't complain.
See, there's an example of something we improved when we pushed the game.
Oh yeah,
Daisy.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
I've really loved her being the trapper. I'll follow her all the time. Like I did notice that too. Like I think it was in the dropship and a little bit just on the ground. This about Daisy was kind of cool to hear too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
What is the conversation? Something like, "When you got Daisy, did you ever think she'd be
out here hunting?"
The other one is like, "So you've never been here before. How do you have her?"
Right.
Oh, is that a conversation?
It is. Yeah, it's like
I haven't
one of
heard
the intro character conversations.
That's awesome.
Oh, I must have heard it. They've added a lot. They've added a lot of conversation because that was another feedback we got was the conversation was repetitive. So we added some. I don't know if it was enough. We're still working on stuff, but
I mean, if you ever need a voice actor, I have a wonderful voice. Jess, again, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. If you ever want to be on again, you let me know.
I will let you know.
Of course. And you guys at home, make sure you check out her Twitter. You can follow her at say it again. I totally
at
forgot.
Damn Jess.
At Damn Jess. There we go. Where you can obviously see her updates on what's going on with Evolve and all that fun stuff. And make sure you check out of course the Black Only channel to see some more of the footage. So you can see some of that in action. You can see the live streams on the live stream channel, and it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks again, guys. I really appreciate it. I had a fun time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming on.
So look forward to the next time.
Of course. Thank you.
Take care.
Yay. Will likes.
That was awesome.
Yeah, man.
Are we gonna continue and try and get through the rest, or?
I say so. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck it. We're here.
Yeah. I would love to have her on for the whole time, but I mean, I think she's like about to leave work. So
she's like the community manager at Turtle Rock for Evolve. Like that. I mean, go ahead. Like, thank you for being on for a half hour. Like, thank you. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
That was why I tried to structure it so that like there were questions later if she was there, but they weren't. But they didn't need her to be there for the whole time.
Sorry, I'm responding to her. She like sent another message. So awesome. Thanks again. Proceed. Sorry, you guys keep going.
That was just nice to hear about. From. Go ahead, Kev.
Oh, no worries. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say it was just nice to hear just such honest, quality feedback for a change. Like it's nice talking to a person rather than like a corporate entity. Like I think
talking about people.
Like EA or I'm sorry, I'm so pissed off whenever I think about it now.
Yeah. And like I totally get that frustration, and like again, I'm still in the mindset of like, yeah, EA fucked up and they keep fucking up all the time. But
keep fucking up.
But they're also they also they also have a lot of like great people working there, people who
do
genuinely like care about the games that they're producing and putting out, and so.
But I was just hearing that difference between like 2K and personal shout out to NBA 2K when they take their time and they craft a quality product, and then they release it. They're willing to wait and take the time, and it was just refreshing to hear.
That's very true.
Ultimately, I think that it's probably 2K, but it's also probably just sort of the way that the argument was made was probably very important. Sort of this is what we're adding, like this is what we need to do, this is what will make the game more successful overall. Because to publishers, it is all about money. Like it has to be. That's their job. So it's all about sort of where they can put their value. And I think that is good to hear, that they're willing to at least be open to the developers wanting to move things out.
Cheers. Yeah.
So, we will move right along to the rest of the podcast. I think after that, there's probably going to be a bunch of people who only tuned in for that very quick thing. Oh, we had guest topics we were supposed to talk about too.
It's all good.
I totally forgot.
Gosh, there was one. I gotta recall what that was. Go ahead, man.
Since you're typing, do you want me to read the new releases?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. So here are your new releases for this week. Released on February 17th, we had Dead or Alive 5 last round on PS3, PS4, and Xbox One. Total War Attila on PC. Trivial Pursuit Live on Xbox 360. Paparazzi on Wii U. Morningstar Descent to Deadrock on PC. Pillar on PS4. And Hand of Fate, which I personally am kind of excited by, on PS4 and Xbox One. Last week, we had the new 3DS system, Majora's Mask, re-released on 3DS. Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, released on 3DS. Last Tuesday, we had Evolve, like we were just talking about, on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Chivalry Medieval Warfare on PC. Eternoblade, which I know nothing about on Vita. Overture on PC. Minutes on PS4 and Vita. And Super Stardust Ultra on PS4. And a whole bunch of other stuff that I didn't include because I had no idea what it was.
Was Apotheon on there?
Largely on PC. No, it wasn't.
Was that last Tuesday?
What game?
I saw you playing it. I thought you were playing that, Kev.
I think I did. I think it was 2 weeks ago.
All right, my bad.
Which game is this?
But I could be wrong. Apotheon?
Oh,
yeah, it was free on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, that was the last podcast.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, because that would have been the beginning of the month. That's when things go free. So that
Gosh, it just took me like 2 weeks to get to it.
Me too.
I haven't even played it yet either. Wait, so was it Eternal Blade? That's what the one you were saying you were excited about? No.
Hand of Fate.
Hand of Fate.
Yes.
Hand of Fate's actually been reviewed because I think it was released on PC like a month ago. But Hand of Fate is like a dungeon crawler where you have cards that you use both to determine what your characters can do and to determine like what boosts you give to the monsters. So the concept seems really cool, and I'm definitely going to check it out because it seems like a fun game. And I'm into anything D&D based.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is very D&D.
It is very D&D. Plus cards, and those two things together are like me. So.
That's awesome. I'm okay. So, I guess one of my guilty pleasures in gaming is Dead or Alive.
Yeah. Are you gonna get last round?
I don't know if I'm gonna get last round. I reached out to Tecmo Koei to see if I can get a review copy because I did play DOA 5, played it a lot, and I enjoyed that game. But I felt the netcode needed some work before I could really give it more of my time.
Makes sense. I did see the developers asking PC modders to be nice.
Yeah, fuck them. All right.
Well, you know why? Come on, you know exactly.
Oh, I know entirely
That's why I was laughing as soon as you said it was a guilty pleasure of yours.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And like not in the sense that like oh my god, I'm playing DOA, but like of course the mantra of it is like, oh, you only play it for the boobs and like I like the fighting mechanics in it. I don't like Tekken, but I do like DOA.
It's like a guy that reads Playboy that's like, I like it for the articles.
It's totally different. The articles are in Playboy magazine.
They're really good, by the way.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay.
That is my standard argument. Like, there normally is something very peace-worthy in there somewhere. And I'm not really a fan of the nudity in Playboy. I think they don't really do a good job on that. But that's another topic.
I mean, we could talk about that for a second if you really want.
Well, if you really want to, sure. Like, okay, I haven't been a fan of Playboy in like 5 or 10 years. Yeah, but I'll still read it just because of the content.
I mean, they do have like really good writers that occasionally do articles and short stories and stuff for them. So,
well, that's a legitimate thing to say that they have great articles. Then,
yeah.
Yeah, but it's not usually the reason most males will get a Playboy. It's just...
I think they also need to have good articles because honestly, like, the internet is a thing. And
exactly.
If they didn't, there's no reason to pay for that. You can Google image search that, so...
Yeah, people can scan it in. You have the exact thing that's in the Playboy, like, right there. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What else is on here that I'm really... kind of looking forward to? So
there's one that's not on there because it's not out yet.
Which is what? Oh, The Order?
Yep.
No, that's not out yet, but
that's what we're talking about next. So.
Yes.
All right, I'll wait.
I'll
hold it.
I'm very jealous of the new 3DS XL.
It's so pretty. Oh my god.
Oh man.
I can't wait until I can actually use it.
So tell a story of what happened with.
So the new 3DS uses a micro SD card instead of an SD card. So I ordered a 64 gigabyte one off of Amazon, which was supposed to be delivered today. So my new 3DS arrived a day earlier than I expected it, and I was really happy until I realized I didn't have the memory card. My mail, because of all the snow, was delivered at like 6 o'clock.
And there was just snow everywhere.
I didn't get my memory card until pretty late, and apparently it doesn't work. So I earned it, and my mom was nice enough to go and grab me a new one while we were on this podcast.
I was gonna say there actually might be a way to format it into FAT32.
Well, no, it has to. The card won't be can't be read. Like it says, there's nothing inserted.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Shout out to Lamar Wilson if you're listening to this for some reason. But he actually talked about this very thing, and he was like, everyone was telling him it wasn't going to work, and he took it into his computer and formatted the card and put it into his 3DS, and then it worked.
Oh no, this one I'm pretty sure that the card was just not working.
Oh wow!
But now I need to do a system transfer, which can take several hours, and then tomorrow I can play it.
Yeah, Nintendo. Before we move on to the order, I just want to say Nintendo gets things right and then gets things so wrong. Like
linking games to your system and not your ID is such a bad idea. So many people get their 3DS stolen and then they lose every game they've ever owned because it's linked to the system and not their name.
What is Nintendo thinking?
I don't know. I was also trying to figure out what size card I need, so I was looking at trying to figure out how much space I actually used on my old 16 gigabyte card and how much was left. And they still say everything in blocks and not actual space.
Oh. So
my 3DS still had 10,000 blocks remaining, and I was like, I don't know what that means.
That's
that
so
is an
useless.
Arbitrary thing.
Why? Why would you do this to us? And their partner program, for example, is just abysmal. People are signing up for it. That's the part that bothers me the most. And we can go into a whole separate thing about that, but we will save that for another time. The order has come under fire just before release after claims that the game is 5 hours. Though developers deny this claim, studio executives say the game is about 8 to 10 hours in length.
Which is not much longer.
Right. So, how short is too short? And is there a point where, regardless of quality, a game isn't worth $60?
All right, well, I'd love to go first if you guys let me.
Please do.
After you, sir.
Because I looked up something today, and I've been looking at it, because I've been looking at The Order as one of those games for me. It's a new IP. It's something that we haven't seen before by a company that's had a little bit of work with Sony. Mm-hmm. And it's got a concept that intrigues me. I really just want to see what this is like. I need a new third-person something. And on top of that, everyone's making this comparison because some motherfucker out there on YouTube went through it in what? Was it 5.5 hours?
That's what he claims, yeah.
Okay. Well, first off, it was his second playthrough. And it was on an easier difficulty. This dude just rode through the whole game because he'd already done it before on something simple. But on top of that, to make it a comparison's sake, the Uncharted games, someone posted the times, and I think it was Uncharted 1 was 7 hours. Mm-hmm. Uncharted 2 was 7.5. Uncharted 3 was 7 hours. This is a straight playthrough grind session.
Yeah, if you don't die constantly and don't explore,
you're just going. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. The one I read today took it all. It was 3.5 hours for The Last of Us.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. Then I don't give a shit. I'm going to sit down and enjoy this game like I have before. I don't need to read anything else. I don't need to see anything else. I just hope it's a good game, and I have that gut feeling it's at least going to be good. It might not be great, but I think it'll be good.
I think replay value needs to be factored in. Sort of.
And, well, yeah, the other thing is I might trade it in another month for Bloodborne. I will say that.
That's true. I'm actually thinking about getting the order and then trading it in for something else coming up, because the thing is, this is a game that I feel like I should be giving my love to the developers for making this, because this, making a first single player only game in this day and age is very risky. Mm-hmm. And so part of me wants to to give to them to kind of show them that like this is still like you can still make a really great experience if it is a great experience, you know. And
Sure.
another part of me is like, I need to be smart with my money, but I don't know. I mean, if like what you say is true, you know, taking into consideration, some people went through The Last of Us in 3 hours. I mean, that game,
3.5 hours, and that game took you what, maybe 12, 14.
And that game
15
without
or 16
multiplayer
for
alone
pushing it.
was phenomenal.
It was. I've easily played through that game 5 or 6 times front to back, and I would play it again.
Mm-hmm.
The criticism reminds me of Dishonored, which was also a game that was really short.
Oh, that's a good one.
But like really fun, and it introduced some unique mechanics. Like it's something that I'm very glad I played. But when I finished it, I was like on my first playthrough, and it was less than 10 hours. I was a little disappointed. So I don't know.
But at least it still had that diverse like ending. Like you could be the good guy, or you could be the bad guy. And
Definitely.
I remember I went through Dishonored myself again just to make sure I didn't kill anybody the entire game.
That's what I did my first playthrough. And so my first
I just did
playthrough
whatever
took a
I
little
wanted
bit longer. My second playthrough, I was just a jerk, and it went really fast.
I did the opposite, I guess. The first time I played it, I just said, fuck it. I'm just going to do whatever or whatever feels right. And I did a mix of stealth and bad shit, and I just said, fuck it.
For
But
the
my
first
second
three
playthrough,
quarters,
by the way.
first 3 quarters of my game, if I accidentally killed someone, I went back to my previous save.
Gosh, it was such a pain. That's what I did the second time. It was such a bitch.
Yeah, it
It
is.
took a while.
It did.
I never played Dishonored. Sad face.
You should.
It was fun. Yeah.
I'm sure you can get it for super cheap right now, too.
Yeah.
Like, even with the add-on, which I never played, because I sold the game back by then, because it came out like a year after the game.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that's-
remember.
that
That was
sucks.
my first day one digital copy. I'll never forget that.
Damn.
Where you remember when that was for PlayStation 3 people, they didn't update the PlayStation Store until 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I had to wait until then. They couldn't refund my money because I called them. I couldn't buy. I could buy 2 copies and have 1 digital, but I waited,
Yeah.
and then I had to wait for the download. And then I had to wait to install it.
Then you had to wait for the patch, which
Oh my gosh!
I just got the super cool tarot card deck that came with it when I got my physical copy, so I was happy with that.
I've learned. I've learned.
So I guess the question still remains is how short is too short?
I mean,
you guys think?
I would say
I
4
think-
hours.
I think it depends on, like I said, replay value. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
there are some things that are really short, but you can play them over and over. But there are other things that might be of a medium length that just don't hold your interest. So, like, you
Or
don't
they're-
ever want to really touch it again.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on the quality, and it depends on replay value.
It depends on the game too. Like some games like are first person shooters, other games are third person action adventures, other games are multiplayer centric, and when it comes down to just a single player game, if it's like I'll even cite this. What is that game called? The Binding of Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
And I was told, because I played it once or twice, and it was fun. But one of the other guys on the podcast played it once.
Mm-hmm.
Then he played it again, and then the next day he played it for like 4 hours, and he beat it again and again and again. But he saw new enemies, and he saw new weapons, and he saw all these other cool things that he didn't see the first time through. And
Yeah,
it just depends. It just depends on what kind of game it is.
that's
Or like-
true.
Like, I just did that with Transistor because it was free. Like, I was meant to pick it up, and that game is pretty short. Like, my first playthrough was significantly less than 10 hours. My second playthrough, like, to get all the trophies and increase the difficulty, was less than that. But an amazing game, so
But I mean,
I don't know.
the game originally launched at like what, $15?
I think 20, 25. I think it was like 25 because I was looking at it originally and I was like, no. And I feel like
Well, I
for
guess you could-
$15, I would have said, never mind, I'm just going to do it.
You could change the question then. How short is too short for a $60 game?
Yeah, that is like, yeah, okay, that's fair.
But see, if I paid $60 for Transistor, I still would have been happy.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
I don't know.
That game's amazing
enjoyed
and
it,
has
but-
so much strategic depth. I don't know. It all depends on quality.
yeah. So, I didn't play Transistor yet, but it's one of the games that I've been most looking forward to playing. So, the fact that I didn't play it yet is kind of like weird for me.
I liked it so much, I paid $3 for a Transistor theme for my PS4.
Wow.
Drop
I
the
need to go
mic.
back to that game. I need to go back to that game then. It's been a while because I've been playing, for example, Hotline Miami. Like
That game
I
was
love that game.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Hotline Miami is pretty awesome.
But would I pay $60 for that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, Transition is very much a different game, definitely. But I don't know. I mean, for me personally, what I end up doing for games that I know are short is I just wait until they're cheaper. Like, it's not a factor of if I don't get it at all. It's a factor of, like, it's when I get it, you know?
Which makes sense. Which I think you also sort of have to look at, like, what is the game studio doing? If it is something ambitious, something risky, then I'm more willing to spend the money.
Yeah.
If it's something safe, like the new Devil May Cry was, something that seems safe, something that seems...
arbitrary.
I don't know. What was that?
Arbitrary, pointless.
Yeah, like I don't know. I'm much less
like
likely
the next fucking first-person shooter or the next fucking action-adventure game.
Or DMC, as you said. The reboot.
I'd also rather play like a 6-hour game that's amazing than like a 50-hour game where I enjoy 6 hours of it.
Yes.
That's
like,
fair.
Perfect example. Thank you. Something that I'm trading in toward the order. I may or may not regret this. I don't think I will. Is Far Cry 4. I have not beaten it, but I popped it in for like I told you guys, like I popped it in for 5 minutes, and I was like, "Fuck this!" And then I popped in Infamous First Light, and I don't know who recommended. I wanted to say it was you, Kevin.
I did not play First Light, so it was not me.
I played a little bit of First Light.
It's downloaded.
Somebody
it was
loved
free,
it,
but I did not.
It might have been Jordan.
No, he didn't play it because he's not. I don't think he's a fan of Second Son, which I played and loved.
I love
Second Son. I would have recommended that. That's also a very short game. That was very good.
And I popped First Light in, and I sat down and I played it until I beat it that Sunday. I could not stop, and I'm willing to trade in Far Cry 4 without even looking back, thinking fuck exploring for another mask or going to the top of something or doing a side objective or looting another chest or unlocking this like. Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, and what's the other one? Watch Dogs are pretty much the same fucking game.
Ooh.
It's if you look at the setups, it's been bothering the hell out of me, and I don't think I want to play another game of that same formula for a while.
Yeah.
On that note, let's talk about another open world game.
Perfect. Zelda.
A very different open world game.
You go ahead.
Oh yeah, sure. Zelda Wii U series producer says that the series is as big as the Wii U can handle, but he takes issue with the open world label because he says that all Zelda games have given you a big world to explore. And then my question that I added was just, what is one thing that you would love to see in the new Zelda? Like either something from an old Zelda that you want to see come back, or something that like hasn't been in Zelda that you want to see, since this looks to basically be like the Legend of Skyrim Zelda. Zelda Rim. Nope, not going further with that.
That's the next parody film coming your way. I mean, coming your way.
Oh, you're funny.
Gosh, nerds everywhere would eat that up.
Oh yeah, that will take the cake, or take the heart.
Take the Triforce.
But I think I want to change what you were talking about. Sort of, at what point does open world become a bad thing? Because you just said you don't want to explore for like 4 hours to find a mask. At what point does open world become like a...
I don't know. It needs to feel alive to me. It needs to feel like that living, breathing place. Like some place I can run through. Like another recent example would be Dying Light. How it's... very familiar. It has a similar setup, but at the same time, it feels like that apocalyptic wasteland. When I'm looking down from the rooftops and I see zombies stumbling around, or how it's crafted that you can just run from one side to the other, or the people there and the stuff that they're going through. And it's not the same fucking mission every time. Unlocking safe areas might be, but that's still something that's formulaic enough that you want to do that again. Like, I think alive and breathing is the most important one to me, something that feels real.
It's fair. I don't know. I've also always had issue with, I don't know, like if I think of Skyrim, it often just gets so damn overwhelming when you're not
too big.
Like on the story mission, and you're just like, well, I've got my choice of 763 quests on my quest log.
Yeah.
I'm just going to turn this off.
I think a big part of that is also like the way it directs your attention to things, or the way it directs your focus. So one of the things I loved about Skyrim when it directed your focus towards the main story missions is that like you knew you were on a story mission. You knew you were on a main story mission. One of the things that I find is a struggle for me as a game player for a lot of these open world games is some of them require you to traverse, and the traversal system takes longer than it really needs to.
That's fair.
So
like you just running from point A to point B and just trying to
not
get
really much is
there.
happening in between that time. You know, that's one of the things that kind of drove me crazy about Assassin's Creed 3 is that like I just wanted to get to the next story thing. And I didn't want to have to go to the same area over and over again just to get to the next thing. Like I wish there was a way to. They had fast travel kind of in like main areas, but it wasn't where the next objective was.
You still had to go out of your way to get there.
Right.
So, like, if we think of, like, Ocarina of Time, that had you running all across Hyrule to go from point A to point B. You really couldn't fast travel there.
But there was something different about that. That was more, you still had your local shops along the way, too. You had your enemies that you could fight. You had...
Ride Epona.
Yeah, riding Epona, or, it's been a while since I've played it, but that was one of the few games I played through, I don't know, half a dozen times.
Yeah.
And I think another part of that, too, was that there weren't other games around at the time that were even doing that. Like, it was fairly new concept.
So do you want fast travel in the new Zelda game?
I would, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That would probably be my biggest thing I would want in that game.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as I can go to Goron Mountain at some point, which is, I don't know. It's been so long since I played Zelda. It's probably been in one of the games since then.
It was in Majora's Mask, because Majora's Mask is the same Hyrule.
Oh, that was a while ago.
I know that.
Well, it was brought out again recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to start it tomorrow.
I can't wait to hear your impressions. I never played Majora's Mask, actually.
I haven't either.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So this is going to be super exciting for you then.
I think by the time Majora's Mask came out, like, I wasn't on my N64 anymore.
Yeah.
So.
No. Weird. Was that PlayStation days?
Oh, yeah.
PlayStation 2. I think that's why I was no longer on my N64, because the end of the N64 overlapped with PS2.
And it couldn't compete.
Yeah.
It tried, but it couldn't.
Oh, not even a little bit. No.
I'm told that Majora's Mask is, like, the most unique Zelda game.
So maybe that's the reason why not as many people talk about Majora's Mask versus Ocarina of Time, for example.
The whole setup is different. Like, it's not like go from point A to point B to point C to point D. Majora's Mask is the world ends in 72 hours.
Oh, wow.
So you relive the same 72 hours over and over, and each day you sort of have to keep track of what you need to do to make everything go perfectly and not have the world end.
Okay. That's
very
stressful.
Yes.
Yes, especially when that moon or crater gets closer and closer and closer.
Yeah.
And you just see that angry look in its face.
What the fuck? This just got dark as shit.
No, I can still see it.
I mean, Zelda's always kind of dark. Wind Waker's all about, like, the world is flooded.
Oh.
And all that's left is tiny pieces of land. So Zelda's always pretty dark.
And we all know Gandalf.
Yep.
Or Ganondorf, isn't it
Ganon?
Ganondorf?
Well, I think it went from, was it Ganondorf to Gandalf? It was like that. Ganon, thank you. Thank you. His last major form, which was crazy.
Mm. Yeah. I need to start playing those fucking
Gosh, it's
games.
been a while. It's been years.
Yeah. Speaking of years, Darksiders 2 came out years ago.
Yep.
Not a few years.
Say it again?
How many years?
At least 2, maybe 3.
3?
It's not that long ago, is it?
It was at least 2 years ago. It was probably more.
It could have
I was
been
living
3
in
years
Bridgewater, so
Mm-hmm.
at least 2 years ago. I think like 2.5.
Might have been around 2.5, maybe 3.
Going for initial release date, August 14th, 2012. That's 3 years ago this year.
Yeah.
So 2.5 years ago. Nice.
Yeah, perfect, right. Darksiders 2 to get a definitive edition for next-gen systems. New developer Nordic confirms. Of course, they got acquired by THQ, you know, so after THQ was dissolved, fans thought the series was dead. But the creative developer says that the new developer is committed to continuing the series.
I think that's interesting. It's a remaster, but not from the original publisher, because the original publisher is gone. Like, I think that's...
Yeah.
Do you think they'll
I'm probably not
change
going to buy
anything
it.
about it?
Well, yeah, that's
says
like the
definitive.
other thing. It's the same. Like I have my stance on this. You guys know. Like I'm okay with it now. I was pissed about it at first, but I'm okay with it. Some people didn't get to play the game. This will be their first time playing it, so have fun. It's a good game. But for me, I fucking played it already. Move the fuck on.
Yeah.
But what I think is interesting about this, though, is like that the new Nordic Games, who now owns it, like this is sort of their like foray into potentially making a third game.
True.
Despite saying initially that they weren't going to spend like $50 million on it, like the second game cost.
Jeez. God damn.
Yeah,
That's probably why
one of the
THQ
reasons why THQ is not here today. Yeah.
Holy crap. What makes them think they can spend $50 million on anything?
Because of the way Darksiders 1 went, and it wasn't really a big title, but it was big enough that it made some money and that it had its following and that people really wanted a sequel, and they tried and unfortunately didn't quite succeed.
I never knew it had a following as big enough to kind of warrant.
I think part of it too is I get the feeling that they kind of blew their budget on the game, and it was not marketed well at all.
No.
Also true.
No, it wasn't.
So
that's insane.
That is insane.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I never played Darksiders 2.
I didn't either.
That's it. Yeah.
I would play it. I don't know if I'll buy it right away, but I would play it for sure.
Yeah.
I'd say if you enjoyed the first one, you'll enjoy the second one.
I also don't know what they're pricing the definitive edition at. Like if it's $20, I'm much more okay with it than if it's.
But if it's 50,
60, yeah.
What if it's $49.99?
Nope.
All right.
Not for a game that came out that long ago. Everything okay?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fine. I'm fantastic. Moving on to the next thing. Sorry, I just had like a crazy shit going on. So, World of Warcraft is adding new colorblind support, adding words to describe rarity alongside color, as well as making other tweaks. That's if Jess is still on.
If she was still on, I was going to ask sort of like how much emphasis, as game makers, you should put on that much, like making sure that everybody can play. I think it's still a question that we can.
Yeah, I think it's something we should still address.
And I read an article, I don't remember where, sort of talking about this with other games, like including colorblind support, including alternative controller schemes for people who can't hold the controller the same way.
Yeah.
Like how much emphasis do you think developers need to put on making sure that everyone can play their games, like regardless of whatever different needs they might have? Like at what point do you think that you should stop and focus on, the main experience?
Go ahead.
I think if you have time, you should, but I'll make the easiest example in the world. Do any of you guys, parents, play video games?
My dad used to.
But do they, like, currently? Would they pick up a PlayStation 4 controller and play Call of Duty on a Friday night with you?
No.
Nope.
Would you be able to sit down and teach them said controls in a sitting?
Probably.
No.
Mine probably not.
Mine probably not either. I would try, and she'd probably get it to a certain extent, or my dad would get it to a certain extent, but they would be terrible at it.
My only point is video games aren't for everybody, but if you can incorporate it so those that want to play can play, please do. But some people aren't going to play video games.
The other article I was reading was talking about how like video games can be amazingly useful for like physical therapy.
Yes.
Yes. But they need to have alternative controller schemes just so that the people can, like hold the controller in the way that they can and sort of do that. Mm-hmm. So I think that easy tweaks, like alternate controller schemes, things like World of Warcraft is doing, like rather than just showing rarity from green, purple, and orange, like showing it with a word is important. And color blindness, like you totally need to take care of color blindness.
Yeah.
Like a third of all males in the world are colorblind. Like,
yeah. It's pretty crazy.
So.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. I think, I think we just lost Kevin.
No, I'm here, and my video just turned off.
Oh, okay. That was weird. I was like, what happened to Kevin?
I don't know why. But
because fuck you, that's why.
I looked over at my router, and I'm still up. I don't know what's going on. Well, obviously, I'm still up. I'm talking. So.
Skype happened.
Yeah.
I think my video must have gone down, too.
It just told me my video's turned off and the little icon had a slash through it, like I clicked it, but I definitely did not.
Yeah, mine totally just went down too, so I'm back. Hey, people, I'm back.
I'm here, but I'm never here. I'm gonna fix that shortly.
Yeah. Yeah, that totally. There we go. He's back. Oh, that was so weird.
That was weird. It did that before too.
It did on one of our previous podcasts, totally.
Yeah.
So fucking weird.
Let's keep going because I want to get dinner.
Yes. So, people, developers, please take care of people with disabilities, whether it's control schemes or whether it's color correctness. Please do that.
Yeah, like blue-green color blindness is a big issue, and chances are one of us is going to have it by the time we're like 40.
So
don't say that.
Develop it over time.
Don't say that.
Interesting.
Well, it's already started with me. It started with me years ago. It was
the last thing you want is to be playing a game and to be like, I don't know if this is somebody on my team or if this is somebody else.
I'm just gonna shoot.
Because
it's the guys, not shooting at you or your teammates. The guys shooting at you or not your teammates.
Exactly. Yeah. And the Last Guardian's trademark has expired in the U.S.
No, it hasn't. Or yes, it has, but the game is still good.
But Sony execs reassure fans that the game is still in development, despite a long history of delays after its 2009 announcement, handoffs, and system changes. So, you said it's not. It's okay. It's fine. But is it still going to be called The Last Guardian?
Yeah, they said that it was just like an error from somebody in the office. Like they just forgot to file the renewal papers.
So
which unfortunately also means that right now I could copyright The Last Guardian and then Sony would have to pay me for the rights to it.
I mean, we need to get on that. I mean, if we're trying to make this a lucrative business opportunity.
Somebody's probably already done that.
Damn it!
Yeah, probably.
Too slow. How did this news get out?
I don't know. I think it was because fans saw that the copyright had expired and assumed that the game. So Sony had to be like, nope, not dead.
we're still making it, and I think somewhere. What was it like? Sony in Japan came out recently and talked about some of the struggles they've been facing, and I think that game was involved in that.
And they're trying to transition it to PS4 now, despite developing it for PS3.
Yeah, like Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you develop a game for 12 years. Final Fantasy 15. But I know, The Last Guardian, the creative director said that he stopped contributing to it a long time ago.
That's funny, actually.
It's kind of sad, too.
It is sad, because, think about anything that you've been working on for that long. Nope, can't do it. Sorry.
I don't know. If you think about it with writing, that would be yes, books are in editing for a long time, but that would be I finish my book, I put my final edits on it, and I give it to my publisher for editing, and then 10 years later, it goes on shelves. Yeah. Because they need to transition it to E format.
God damn it.
Or something like that. I don't know.
Something stupid. I don't know. I hope Final Fantasy 15 is good, because after this long, if Chris Lascano, it's Yoru, like he said on the last podcast, this is the make or break moment for Square Enix. If they fuck up on this, and Kingdom Hearts, they are in big trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are. But they own lots of other people, so they'll just transition and make less games themselves. So
that's true. They'll be publishing.
Yeah.
And let's move on to the hot topics, if there are any, aside from what is already there. I don't know if Dave has anything he'd like to bring into the foray.
No, we talked about the order, so... Okay. Or what did you say?
We were both looking at the little icon where his face would be.
Oh, yeah.
On my screen, it kind of looked like the Brady Bunch.
I'm smiling. You can't see it.
I'll smile for him. So, I guess I can bring in a guest topic of some sort. I think... I'd like to think that most people in gaming see what we have going on right now as a good time to be a gamer. And aside from a lot of the bullshit that happened last year,
and it's still happening,
absolutely,
it's not over. I am glad I am not a female gamer.
This is true. I I'm also apologetically saying that, like, I'm glad I'm not a female gamer, but at the same time...
I'm not saying, like, I'm glad I'm not a female gamer, because they suck.
Gosh, I wish one of you were. That's what I was going to say.
Like, female gamers, join us. We need more.
Yeah,
female.
I think, I think aside from all that bullshit that has been happening, overall gaming is okay. I think there's a lot of like really great things going on in gaming and game development and new ideas and new ways of looking at things and new ways of experiencing and internalizing things. We have games that are so much more complex than they ever have been before. Not just in mechanics, but in terms of like, subject matter, in terms of, story elements, in terms of dialogue, So I just want to give a shout out to gaming right now. Aside, again, despite all the crazy shit that's going on out there, we can have crazy and in-depth conversations about things that are going on in gaming, and it's like it's applicable. It makes.
This would have been a lot harder to do back in like original NES days.
Yes.
So let's talk about Mario 3.
Yeah, you could jump.
Have you gotten the Tanuki suit yet?
Did you save the princess?
Did you go in the shoe? The shoe is always my favorite.
You having pipe dreams?
I'm gonna go play Mario 3 now. Never mind.
Fuck you guys.
I've been putting so much time into Mario 3. It's so sad. It's so difficult. Like you don't remember how much more difficult games used to be. Like until you play them and you're like,
bitch.
Why is this so hard?
Like I don't remember how. I know, like young me was able to conquer everything, and you go back now, and it's like, what the hell, man?
How am I a worse gamer now than when I was 8?
Yeah, gaming has gotten easier in some ways. We have the ability to save that right there.
Yeah, well, you could save in a lot of like NES games just on the cartridge.
You had to get through that level, though.
Different.
You couldn't. We have a lot more checkpoints and I don't know, what would you call it?
We have a lot more leeway. Hand holding.
Writing down passwords for Mega Man used to be fun, and if you didn't really want to have to beat a boss, you just like enter a password that's already beaten it.
Just figure that shit out.
It's true.
I didn't have easy access to the internet same way I do now, so that was like, oh man, I gotta go to my dad's place and
gotta go to the library and look it up.
Or the occasional Game Shark usage.
Oh yeah, Game Shark.
I miss the Game Shark.
I don't. I feel like that was so fucking cheating back then.
Yeah, but I used to use it and do ridiculous things too. It always had like those weird developer cheats that you could use, like being able to like fly or being able to like make people bigger or smaller.
Yeah,
I vividly remember this because the original Devil May Cry, the first time I played through it,
that game was hard.
That game was hard as balls. I remember.
It was fun though. Oh, so much fun.
Oh, it was an amazing game. I remember the first time I went against that tarantula, I couldn't even. So much difficulty. I had to use a Game Shark to beat it because I couldn't.
Really?
Yeah, I had so much trouble with it. I got the
original
game,
Devil May Cry
came out,
on PS2, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, it took me a bit, but I conquered that fucking thing.
Oh.
I remember now. I remember I didn't cheat then. I cheated before then on other stupid games.
Well, the thing is, I did that, and then I think I either started over or I played the game without the Game Shark, and then I continued playing because I kind of got a feel for the mechanics after that. At that point, I didn't really like. I think actually it was that scene where I was like, you're going up the stairs, and the tarantula comes like chasing.
Oh, and
you.
It comes up behind you and just shows up out of nowhere. And you're like, shit!
And it chases you. Like I was trying to fight it. I was trying to kill it. I didn't know you could run away from it.
Go, man!
I had no idea you could run away from it. Like you what you were supposed to do was like go in the door to the right. And I was just At the time, I was freaking out because I was like, "Oh, it's
I mean, what I'm amazed about with older games too is how often, like especially when you go back to like 18-bit and 16-bit, how often they just didn't tell you stuff and you just sort of had to figure it out.
You had to die first and then figure it out.
Like when you look at like just Super Mario 3, going back to that example, like none of it makes any sense.
Yeah, like you can sometimes go in this one area and jump, and you can hit the secret. Like what?
Yeah, or like how would you know that you need to like run and then be able to fly? There's no tutorial level.
Yeah,
like
it totally is.
No, you just kind of figured it out as you went.
Yeah, when you press down on a white block, you always can go behind the scenery.
Oh yeah.
Like
no one told you that.
Nope. Also, really doesn't serve a purpose, but you can do it.
It's a thing. And our final topic of the podcast, this wonderful podcast, is Evolve mixes up a familiar multiplayer idea, a team
to bring all this back together.
Bring it all back together. Bring it down to the Evolve. We were going to have Jess on for this part, but I totally forgot that I was going to put this as the last thing before she left. So I derped a little bit.
It's all good.
But it's all good because we have us.
I don't know. I also feel like I didn't want to try and put her in a position where, like, she'd have to try not to give away anything that's coming in the future, and I feel like this question might have done that.
Might have just done that.
What's the question?
You always have to probe, though. You always have to ask that question, you know?
That's fair.
What else would you like to see happen to multiplayer in the future? Now, I imagine this isn't just in relation to Evolve, but in relation to anything.
Yeah, it was just sort of, I don't know. My idea in making it was just that, like, Evolve takes the idea that you already know, sort of like, squad multiplayer.
Versus, like, non-squad
does something different with it.
It mixes squad multiplayer with, like, free-for-all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, what else would I like to see happen to multiplayer in the future?
I don't know an answer. Go ahead.
Answer. I mean, for the types of things that it brings to the table, if it works, because I'm not sold on anything if it's multiplayer centric.
I know what you're going to say.
It's the Division.
Yes, that is what my answer was going to be.
And I've been very, very impressed by everything that they've shown us so far. And the possibilities that are there, it gets me really excited to see where gaming is heading. And if they can bring all that together, like, that's kind of what I'd want to see. The tablet integration, the open world environment, the friends that you explore with, or they just come in and out at will, and the firefights you get into. It's exactly.
I think that integrated seamlessness, I think that's for me is, I mean, it's kind of a cop-out answer for me because, like, it is something that's already happening.
It's a good answer, though.
But then again, it's only happening if they pull it
works.
Off. Yeah. And
so, I'm not sold on yet.
Yeah, I'm with you on that because it can
go
wrong so easily.
Kind of weird. I would like to see, like, basically, I love playing board games and I love playing card games, but the problem is, like, my friends don't live nearby. So I would like to see, like, sort of more experimentation into, like, AR type games. Not necessarily really, but, like, we all have PlayStation eyes. Why can't we have a game where we see the board on the TV, we're all on screen at once? Like, that's easy technology now.
Yeah.
We're doing it right now.
Yeah.
And, like, we can play a game, and, like, on your turn, you just take the controller. If you're, like, you know, like, shaking dice and rolling, you could do that.
That'd be cool.
I just want to feel like I'm playing a tabletop game with my friends when they're not at the same tabletop, without having to do it over Skype, because that always is just confusing. Like, I've done it. It's really confusing, because they can't hear everybody right, because you both need copies of the game if you want to do it correctly. Like, and you both need to set them up exactly the same. I just want to see a return to sort of traditional tabletop games, but in a way that can be played through consoles.
Didn't they try that with Eye of Judgment?
They did, and it was fun. It didn't work very well, and you could trick it and make your own cards really easily.
Oh my god.
But I'm not looking for, like, a collectible card game. Those are a dime a dozen now.
Yeah.
I'm looking for, like, something, I don't know. Something different.
What's the new tech that Microsoft has coming?
The HoloGlasses, or whatever they call them.
HoloLens.
There you go.
I'd say that's. It's too early to tell. It's too early to tell for me. But if they might be able to incorporate that somehow, that might work.
I think that technology is very, like, within our reach. Like, in Kingsman, that movie I saw, like, they all have meetings. Like, they all sit in different rooms, but they put on their, just for security reasons, but they put on their glasses and they can all see each other like they're sitting around a table. And I think that's cool. Something that we're very close to being able to do. And I'd like to see the gaming applications.
Absolutely.
We're like on the cusp of that. Like we kind of where we were with the leap from like PS1 to PS2 or PS2 to PS3. PS3 to PS4 wasn't quite the same leap. Like it's not quite that. But I think from PS4 to whatever's next might be.
Mm-hmm. And on that note, Nintendo may be announcing a console this year, and it's going to be something really weird if they do.
You think so?
I really think so.
Why do you think so?
Them because they need something to save their ass right now.
Yeah. At this point, I think they've gone too far into being like the other game console maker. You know what I mean? Like there's the traditional console makers that just make like the things that play games, and then there's the Nintendo console that always has something else. And the last two have been gimmicky. Like they've been good systems, but it's been gimmicky. Mm-hmm. I think that they've gone too far, and I think they need to do something really, really interesting.
If they announce a new console that's more in line with something that's interesting, but something that's still in line with kind of what the other big two are doing in terms of technological advancements.
Well, this is the problem, is that we don't know what the others are doing in terms of technological advancements because they just released their console.
Well, that's the thing, though. They released their consoles. They had all this social integration and like all this user interface experimentation, and they have both VR and AR coming on the way. Plus, there's other things that they're developing that we don't know about.
See, I would love to see Nintendo just be like, we're doing away with the idea of the console and the TV. We're going to take the Virtual Boy and we're going to make it work. Oculus Mario is go. And by the way, we bought Oculus Rift because we can.
I still think Nintendo's probably in the best position out of the three to make a truly portable home console hybrid.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Because my biggest complaint about my Vita is I like using my PS4 controller more. I want to use that controller with it. If there was a way to connect it to a TV or just to the controller itself, a way to just homogenize the experience, bring it all together, I would play my Vita way more.
I mean, honestly, we are about at the point where we can get all dystopian and they can just put a chip in our head to play games.
No, I don't want that.
I mean,
no, sorry.
As somebody who works in education, I'd be pretty concerned that all my students are just like
glazed over.
Just moving to like move their characters, and I have to stare at their eyes and be like, "You're playing Mario, aren't you?"
That concept, that's almost Skynet scary. Like,
well, it's already reached the point where, like, if you want to have an exam, you need to tell all your students they need to remove their watches and put them in something because everybody has smart watches.
Oh, that's so true.
It's kind of dumb.
Not a fan.
It is true, but it's like I what the hell, man?
I get smartwatches to an extent.
Gosh, I love my
like
Pebble.
Old man.
It's awesome.
I feel like an old man now.
I mean, like the thing is with a smartwatch, especially if you're a commuter on the train, for example.
Yep.
You get a text message or an alert or an email.
It's good just to know if you need to take out your phone and deal with it.
And I like watches, so like naturally that's
And I like customizable watch faces because I am silly and vain, and I like nerdy watches. Like, I really like my Totoro watch face and my Domo watch face.
I didn't know those were things. That's awesome.
They are. And
guys at home, obviously, to keep it locked into the Black Oni podcast, either on iTunes or YouTube. YouTube.com/Black Oni is where you can check that stuff out. Where can they check out your stuff, Kev?
YouTube.com/the1KK. There's not much there, but there will be more momentarily. Oh, no, it isn't. Is it?
No, I was going to say, yours is YouTube.com/
Is it Kevin E. Kennedy?
YouTube.com/ God damn it. I don't know.
All right. You'd think I'd know this. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, you would think. But I have you on here. It's Corp of Corpses. That's what it is.
Oh, that's why. I need to change the name. I'll do that. I'll get on that.
Can you? Can you even?
I don't know. I can do anything.
And, God damn it. Where can you check out some of Soil, aka SOADs?
I'm over at wdwp.co, and that's Why Do We Play. And we didn't podcast yet. We are going to podcast soon here, because that seems to be our main form of reaching out to the world. Mm-hmm. But also with our occasional article and reviews or previews or just different witty gaming commentary, I'll say.
Mm-hmm. And this has been a great podcast. Thank you guys, obviously, for coming on. That's what she said. For you guys at home, if you want to add us on PlayStation Network or Xbox Live or Nintendo, you can find me at J_Blaze06 on PSN and also on Xbox without the underscore, so it's J Blaze06. You can find the 1KK at the 1KK on PlayStation, and also his friend code is.
It's long.
It's long. Nintendo, stop
if
fucking
you're
up.
on Wii U, you can just do the 1KK, because that one actually is your name. If you want my friend code,
I'll give it to me and I'll put it in the description below.
I don't have it. It's on my 3DS. Like it's long.
Damn it, Nintendo!
So, yeah.
This is why we can't have nice things.
I would love some 3DS friends, because we should totally go on monster hunts, because that is awesome for people hunting a monster together. It's like love. So if you want to hunt monsters with me, like, shoot me an email, and I will send you my friend code. You'll have to send me yours, and we'll be friends, and it will be great, and we'll wear animal skins.
I just want to say this before I tell everyone to go check out Soil's PSN. Fucking, alright, Nintendo, Japan, like, seriously, just stop!
We tell you to get on it, but you're obviously not going
to. You obviously don't fucking care at all.
I think that's sort of an issue with a lot of Japanese companies, especially in video games, that they really don't care about the world outside of Japan.
See, what had happened was...
That's why I don't own a Nintendo product right now. I'm sorry.
I told Dream Manifested, hey, get Guilty Gear. It'll be great. We'll get to play it together. Guess how much shit you have to go through to invite someone to your game? Guess what?
I'm guessing.
You can't invite them to your game. You can tell them where your game is. You can tell them where your lobby is. But you can't actually invite them.
Nintendo games are still region locked,
which is unfair.
So I think there's only 2 regions, so that's gotten better. It's just like Japan and not Japan. But
they're such assholes.
That's weird. Like,
it's really funny.
And that's why you couldn't order. That's why you couldn't import a new 3DS LL from Japan for the last 6 months while it's been out, is because you could only play Japanese games on it.
It's the same with the new 3DS.
Yep. Well, it's the same thing. Like, in Japan it's LL, in the rest of the world it's XL.
Well.
L.
God damn it, Nintendo. Moving on.
Nintendo, I love you. Stop hating me. Stop. Make this less of an abusive relationship, please.
Stop giving me reasons not to support your shit. Stop. Stop.
They keep telling me to say I fell down the stairs. Then they give me nice hugs, like Mario and Monster Hunter.
And
I'm like, okay, you're not going to be like my primary relationship, but you're going to be my console on the side.
You're going to be my side bitch.
Hey, that was nice, dude.
We need to make this a thing.
I was watching American Dad, and there was an episode where he has a, what did he call it?
A side bitch.
No, he talked to the dentist, and he and the dentist had an arrangement so that if Francine died and her husband died, they'd marry each other. And he called her his backup wife, so like the backup console.
That's awesome. and where
Gosh.
people can.
I was thinking of fucking Family Guy, man. When
There you go, too.
they had the presents that one Christmas, and Peter gave them away by accident. And a bunch of poor people got them.
It's my sex box.
And her name is Sony. I'm like, yeah, that's mine right now.
That was hilarious.
I don't got no side bitch. I got my sex box.
Sex box.
It's funny how well that works.
Right? Oh man.
I'm betting Microsoft thought of that. They were like, we need something sexy. Let's just call it Xbox.
Sex box.
That way, if you end a word with a plural before it, you say sex box. Like, anything that's a plural, and then Xbox. Like, if it's an Xbox that belongs to a turtle, it's a turtle sex box.
Can you please tweet that? Oh my god. Please, if you don't, I will. I'm totally stealing that.
Welcome to.
God damn it. Dave.
If it's the Xbox that belongs to the baby, it's the baby sex box. Microsoft must have thought of it. And kudos to them, because that's awesome.
The butt sex box. Okay.
I'm not sure why you buy an Xbox for your butt, but
sometimes it just happens. You sit on the Xbox.
Yeah.
You can find Soil, aka Soad, at Soil, aka Soad on PSN.
Oh my gosh, it doesn't matter about case. I'm sure if you type Soil, aka Soad, it'll pop up. Oh gosh.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the episode and listening to us be ridiculous.
If you bought somebody a Xbox for Valentine's Day, that would be Valentine's Day's sex box. You could say, "I love you so much. Here's your Valentine's Day's sex box. Go have fun. I'll stay in this room."
Figure it out. Insert here.
Sorry. Dirty minds. Bad things.
Fucking awesome.